wince far below. "Do you know him?" demands his wife. "Who the hell is he?" "That man," Goldwyn answers after a long moment of recovery, "was D.W. Griffith." This little scene won't make the columns tomorrow, but a few months from now you'll read about D.W. Griffith. He's an old-time movie director, and when he dies on July 24th, 1948, the papers will run respectful notices. They'll say he pioneered the art of motion pictures, that he directed hundreds of silents, including The Birth of a Nation and Intolerance, and that he was washed up even before talkies came in. They'll mention that he hasn't directed a picture since 1931, a flop called The Struggle. If you drop in at Griffith's funeral, you'll have no trouble finding a place to sit. In fact, only half the seats at the Hollywood Masonic Temple will be filled, so you and everyone else gathered outside the auditorium to watch has-been celebrities will be invited in to fill the empty seats. You might find yourself near Lionel Barrymore or Max Sennett, or behind Blanche Sweet, Richard Barthelmess, Walter Houston, Raoul Walsh, Mae Marsh, Donald Crisp. If you're really lucky, maybe you'll sit next to Mary Pickford or Erich von Stroheim. On several of these faces you may detect a sneer directed at two of the honorary pallbearers, Louis B. Mayer and Samuel Goldwyn. That's because Griffith's friends think these two could have given the old man something to keep him busy in his final years, but didn't. There'll be a eulogy by screenwriter and producer Charles Brackett, who's president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and never met D.W. Griffith. Brackett's latest picture, written as usual with Billy Wilder, is A Foreign Affair. Brackett will stand up at the funeral and say, "When you've had what he'd had, what you want is the chance to make more pictures, unlimited budgets to play with, complete confidence behind you. What does a man full of vitality care for the honors of the past? It's the present he wants, and the future." There was no solution for Griffith but a kind of frenzied beating on the barred doors. He lies here, the embittered years forgotten, David Wark Griffith, the Great. A speech that's rather fine and florid, and that in no way resembles the screenplay Brackett and Wilder will soon write called Sunset Boulevard, about a murder in one of those great big houses, with an old-time movie star involved, one of the biggest. Sunset Boulevard, Brutal Boulevard, will be their mordant elegy to the silent picture era. And by a decree of cross-eyed fate, it will also be the picture that ends the collaboration of Billy Wilder and Charles Brackett. Chapter 1. À la recherche de Norma Desmond. The seed of Sunset Boulevard was not necessarily the pathetic story of D.W. Griffith, although that encounter at Romanoff's and the subsequent funeral must have stirred the psychological sediment of Billy Wilder and of Charles Brackett. No doubt the seer and cautionary case of the broken giant also kicked the psyche of Brackett and Wilder, their conjunctive moniker during the years when, according to Wilder, they formed the happiest couple in Hollywood. In a broader sense, however, Sunset Boulevard was all about has-beens, and about all has-beens. Then, as now, the formerly famous haunted the purlieus of Los Angeles, the only company town in the world whose byproducts gnash their teeth in endless hope of resurrection. Billy Wilder's mind was a magnet for such irony, and although in 1948 he was nearing the climax of his artistry as a filmmaker, he had the nerves of an ex-German Jew. The terror and desperation Wilder saw in Hollywood must have jarred memories of Weimar and the rising hysteria he left behind him in the 30s. Born in Poland in 1906 and raised in Vienna, Wilder moved to Berlin in 1926 and worked at various film studios, including UFA. In 1933, when Hitler took over Berlin, Wilder escaped to Paris. There, he co-directed, with Alexander Esway, his first film, Mauvaise Graine, which opened in the summer of 1934. But Billy Wilder didn't stick around for the premiere. Already on January 22nd of that year, he had wisely sailed for the United States on the Aquitania. Hoping for picture work in America, he landed with slender prospects. "I came here because I didn't want to be in an oven," Wilder said many years later. In the words of Ed Sikoff, Wilder's most recent biographer, Billy and his first wife Judith eloped to Yuma, Arizona, on December 22, 1936, 6 months after he married Charles Brackett.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.